Cheer! What's poppin', my brothers and sisters, sisters and sisters? We're gonna be starting shortly. Let's go. Sisters and sisters, we're gonna be starting shortly. Let's go. Hold on, let me do that right. Hold up. Okay, everything good there? Alright. Let's do this right now. Alright, intro. Let's go. Lowercase God body intro.
Knowledge, polish, cottage, wattage, introducing lowercase God body, natural Nathan, representing Sunz of light. Introducing lowercase God body, natural Nathan, representing Sunz of light. Believe in God, believe in God, believe in God.
Yeah, introducing lowercase God body, natural Nathan, representing Sunz of light. Intricate lyricism, just kicking, kicking. Promise, pay homage to Mother, Father, honor. As above, so below, as below, so above. Show love to the flow, which is gold. So what you waiting for? Take your face off the floor, walk through the door, soar like you're born, children of the Most High. So get fly, yeah. Believe in God, 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 believe in God. All right, let's get started. Let's get started. We're going to start with the ritual today. We're going to start with the ritual as usual, as always. Fire blaze, fire blaze, fire, fire, fire blaze, fire blaze. Holistic pure peace, pure power, and pure elevation. Barak Shalom, my sisters and sisters, and welcome to another Blazing Fire of Truth broadcast, which is live blaze today. And welcome to another broadcast today. Welcome to Lumen Consciousness. I'm about to bring that powerful lesson today, the powerful teaching regarding Lumen Consciousness. And you know who this is. Supreme Natural Intelligence, your seed sun, your seed star is in the building, balanced in harmony with the energies. So it's high time that we absorb the knowledge and wisdom today, because I'm going to be breaking it down real heavy today as it pertains to Lumen Consciousness. In other words, light consciousness, and how it correlates to magnetism and repulsion, the law of attraction. 777 principles of the universe and how it connects with the magnetism and repulsion. That's what we're going to be discussing further today. So I warmly invite you to listen keenly and listen razor sharply, because you're about to get that true knowledge, that true wisdom, that true inner standing, understanding, equal standing, overstanding, and outer standing once again. Because as always and as usual, you know we're about to hit that colossal, gigantic monstrosity, grand slammer home run, bringing all this knowledge and wisdom all the way. And that is the fire of truth. So let's begin the teaching for today. Like I mentioned, we're going to be talking about a powerful teaching today regarding Lumen Consciousness, or light consciousness, and the 777 principles of the universe, and how that correlates with the law of attraction, or in other words, magnetism and repulsion, or attraction and repulsion. So let's get it started. The first and foremost, what you need to understand, equal stand, and overstand as it pertains to Lumen Consciousness, the first thing you have to comprehend is that you are a piece of the Most High Power, a piece of God in the lower state, having a human experience right now. Which you need to comprehend. The light realm that we're operating in, which is the visible light realm, which embodies all light spectrums, invisible and visible, but right now we're living in a visible realm, which creates a holographic realm, which is equivalent to a simulation, equivalent to a matrix, or in other words, made up tricks. This is a possibility of a life that you're living right now. It's a possibility of many. Out of many experiences that you could be living today, this is one of the possibilities that you're living currently right now, in your current reality that you're living right now. Reality is, you are God's son, or God's seed star or seed son, or God's son and God's daughter. In other words, that makes you God, a piece of God. It's no different when you as a father and mother come together to create offspring and seeds and children. When you do that process, you are in fact creating another living being in the image of yourselves, right? That's no different what the Most High did in Genesis, right? When we use the Bible as the example. We are created in the Most High's image, right? Well, your children, your seeds, your offspring are created in your image through your genes, your genetics, in genetics, right? Intel and genes. So when it comes to Lumen consciousness, the whole so-called reality that we call reality right now, that we're living in this moment in our human experience, is currently right now our current reality that we believe and think is real. Keep in mind, this is only a possibility within the holographic realm, within the simulation, and within the matrix. This is Lumen consciousness. The fabric of reality in which everything is made up of right now is made up of light particles that is structured, organized in a specific geometric shapes that give us our visual perception that we see right now. That's what you have to keep in mind. That's Lumen consciousness. It allows us to perceive this light reality that we're in, which is called the holographic world, the simulation, or the matrix, made up tricks. This is the one possibility. I'm just going in slow steps right now. So when we talk about Lumen consciousness, you have to understand that you are light being. You are a light being. Your body runs on light. It runs on light for energy. It runs on light for your life, because life is the light. So you're a living spectrum of light right now. A living spectrum of light. That is Lumen consciousness, light consciousness. So before you get any further into the superficialness of when you talk about biology, or we need vitamins and minerals and makes up our body's cells and all that, first and foremost, we are light beings first. When we get to the essence and root of all things, we are light beings, and our bodies are powered by light first and foremost, before anything else. Light then gets converted back and forth between electricity, magnetism, thermal heat energy, light photon energy, and sound photon energy. Your body uses the process of black body radiation to transmute these energies into different forms for different purposes in order for you to live and shine your lumens, your light consciousness, or your light body that you're currently in, which is in a crystallized, condensed form, currently called the human form that we're in right now, which is one of many forms that you could be living in. As we see, there's many different life forms on the planet Earth right now. Many different forms of life you could take on right now. They're all forms of light. They're all forms of light spectrums. So when we talk about Lumen consciousness, I see you, Francisco. Namaste. Mark of Mix, what's up, brother? Heaven high. So when it comes to Lumen consciousness, we're going to be getting to the laws, the 777 laws of the universe right now, and how we correspond Lumen consciousness. Since you now know that you are God, God, him and herself. You have to know that. Because like I said before, going back to the start, your mother and your father created you in their image through the connection of sex, sacred exchange of information, knowledge, wisdom, intelligence, gene transfer, gene fusion, gene combination. You are the product of your mother and father, just as we are the product of the Most High Supreme Being that created us in their image. As within, also without, as above, so below, vice versa. So when we're talking about Lumen consciousness, I'm trying to slow this down and keep it as simple as possible. When you know Lumen consciousness deals with the knowledge and wisdom of knowing that you're in a reality that is created by you. You created the simulation. You create your environment through your cipher of living in your light emanation that you're broadcasting. You're creating your simulation, your reality right now. So before we get anything else, you have to understand that you are a lowercase God body right now. You are not in your most high supreme state right now because you're in a human form right now. Human forms and life beings, just any being on this planet has limitations. So we're not in our most high state right now. When we go to the most high supreme state, because we know that the most high supreme God is all people, places, and things at the same time. We know that we are a piece of this. We're only one piece of this. And since we are a piece of all of creation, which is in the universe, United Song, Supreme Mathematics, which is Lumen Consciousness, we are a piece of the universe. Since we're only a piece of the universe, you have to understand, equal stand, overstand that you have limitations. You put yourself in a reality that has limitations. When you operate in this dense physical realm, you're in a state of limitation. So you're not in your higher state right now. Because when you're in a higher state, when you're part of the supreme triple state of blackness, when you're in the state of supreme energy, supreme electromagnetism, you're omniscient, you're omnipotent, and you're omnipresent. Because energy is everywhere. Everywhere, all at the same time. We're not in that state. We purposely limited ourselves with specific egos, personalities, attributes to experience life, overcoming the barriers, blockades, and fortresses in life so we could grow and develop ourselves. Starting from the bottom, rising to the top. So let's get to the 777 principles of the universe, breaking this down with the law of attraction, magnetism, and repulsion. Am I being heard crystal clearly? Am I being heard crystal clearly, right? Everything's clear. So I'm going slow. I'm making sure this is very well understood and going very slow. So what you need to comprehend is that you are God, literally. You're just a piece of God. So you're a God, you're a lowercase God with limitations. That's what you need to know. You are God with limitations. Remember, God is simply a being that has authority and has power. And everybody has authority and power at many different levels of existence. Everybody has power. Because it's your choice in what you want to do in life. That makes you a God of your environment and your cipher. Your willpower will determine how strong of a God you are. If you have weak willpower, you're a baby God. And you lack knowledge of self. You need to grow and develop. You need to you start up as a seed, you grow up and develop and become a small little plant, and eventually grow into a large tree. That's how you grow and develop. So you have to recognize that you're in the dimension that you're living in right now, in this current earth that we are living in right now. You have to recognize that you are a lowercase God body right now. You're not in your most high supreme state right now. Because the most high supreme being is all people, all persons, places, and things in fusion. All egos, all knowledge and wisdom in synchronicity, fusion, and synergy. You have to recognize that. You have to realize that. You're a lowercase God body. Everybody's light spectrum polarity is not equal. Their lumen consciousness is not equal. Some are closer to the most high supreme being than others, but that still doesn't take away the fact that you're a lowercase God body. You're just not making use of the full potential that you have right now because you're not aware of it. You haven't been taught. So you have to understand, equal stand, overstand, and outerstand that you are a lowercase God body who creates their simulation, their world, their matrix. You are responsible for your life. And you're solely responsible for your life. You control your life. Keep that in mind. So let's move on. I suggest people take notes, and pay attention. I'm going to basically list out the 777 principles of the universe for you. I'm going to begin with the laws of the universe first. The laws of the universe is what? Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, rhythm, polarity, cause and effect, generation, or gender, or production, or creation. Cause and effect can also be considered karma as well. So that's the 7 laws that the universe is made up of. That's what you keep in mind. So let me break this down slowly for you. This is why you are God. You're a piece of God. You're in a state of limitation right now. Because I know Nature Boy. No, I'll save that for another. I'll save my brother Chief Nature Boy for another discussion. I'm gonna critique one of his videos because he tried to be slick and try to point something out in one of my songs that he's trying to point. But I'll save that for another video separately. So I'm gonna be getting to you, brother Chief E. I'm gonna be getting to you, my brother Chief E. I heard you in that video talking about demons. I heard you there. And I'm going to be getting to that critique on you video. If you're watching, I'm going to be getting to you. But this is save that for later. So, when it comes to mentalism, you have to understand, equal stand, overstand, and outer stand. Since you are a God, a lowercase God body to be more specific, having a human experience in this realm of limitation, in this holographic realm, you have to understand that everything that you see, which is projected from you, everything that you see and perceive that is projected from you, everything you see and perceive that is projected from you, I have to say this very slowly and clearly, is all created from your own mind. All is mind. All is mental. Everything we see is a projection of the intellect that we choose to experience. Everything that we see and perceive is based on the projection of the intellect of the knowledge that you have. the knowledge that you have been fed, indoctrinated with, or educated with. Keep that in mind. Everything that you see and perceive is a projection of your intellect, your mental facilities and faculties. So you limit yourself by your mental state. Limitation is only brought forward on your mental state of existence. Limitation is only brought forth within you based on your mental state of existence. Whatever you believe, you are right. Whatever you believe or be alive in, or believe in, be alive in, you could be lied to, you could be living a lie, or you could be alive in the knowledge and wisdom of supreme intelligence and telling your genetics. That is Lumen consciousness. Some people's Lumen consciousness is very dim. They're operating in a state of ignorance. That's what the problem is today. When we're talking about Lumen consciousness, we're talking about how bright is your consciousness. The brightness is equivalent to how intelligent you are, how much knowledge you have, how much wisdom that you have when you're living this life. Because life is the light. Light is life. How much brightness do you have on your life? Because life is the light. That's Lumen consciousness. You're living in this current reality right now, and you're projecting yourself through Lumen consciousness. Listen to reason. Rays from the sun. The sun is an external representation of a projector, a light projection. The sun is the external representation of the light projection. Remember that all is mind. This reality is created from the sun. The sun above you. That's the projector that creates this reality. That helps you see the separation. That helps you to see the distinction between things. The sun allows that to happen and makes that possible. Listen to reason. Rays from the sun. All intellect, all knowledge and wisdom is received, downloaded, and uploaded through the sun, the projector of the sun. Listen to reason. Rays from the sun. And you have to remember, one of the principles is correspondence, right? Outside of us, we see a sun. But inside of us, we have a sun. That's why they call this section the solar plexus. Solar means sun, star, sun, star. Solar plexus. You have to remember that we are a universe within itself. We're just a micro version of the macro version that we see. Like Bruce Lipton says, like Brother Chief Nature Boy says, we are cells living in a body. What you see right now, consider yourself, even though you think you're in a human body right now, you be equivalent to a cell in your body. If you really think about that, you're a cell in your own body. When you look at the universe, you see that we're living on Earth. You're only one of the cells in the Earth. Just like the red blood cells, the white blood cells, the microorganisms that are living within you, that's the same concept as you living within the Earth and the universe. You're just a micro version, a micro cell to the massive universe, right? That's the same thing. That's why it's a law of correspondence. But let's go back to mentalism first. We're going to get to correspondence. I said mentalism is the first principle and law of the universe. All is mind. So your reality is projected by you. It's projected by your sun. We have an external representation and an eternal representation of the sun. We're just the micro version of the sun. The macro version, the universal sun, is one of the universal sun that we see outside of us every single day, every grand rising, every grand falling when the sun goes down. And then the sun's light gets reflected off the moon. We still perceive the sun, it's just the moon takes the duties of the sun by taking the light from the sun and projecting, continue the projection of the reality. The moon does it for the sun when it's on the other side of the earth. It's resting on one side of the earth, but on the other side of the earth, it's grand rising, right? So when we talk about mind, you have to realize that you are the alchemist. You are the alchemist of reality. You are the creator, the architect of your reality. And your reality is based on the knowledge that you have. You could only perceive the reality that you see before you based on the knowledge that you have been taught, you have been educated with, you've been indoctrinated with. And based on your programming that you have learned in your life, that your parents have taught you, your mother and father, based on their knowledge, which is limited, and then your knowledge is limited in another way. But obviously life is about growth and development. Life is about increasing your brightness, your Lumen consciousness, increasing your knowledge and your wisdom, which is the application of your knowledge, to gain experience and to grow and develop and become a better version of yourself every day. That many of the so-called woke community conscious people like to use, become a better version of yourself every single day, because life is about growth and development. You're here to start from the bottom and rise to the top. You're here to go through that experience, to learn something. Because when you learn, you earn, you know, you grow, and that's how you must flow in life. You must grow like plant life. You must be seasoned throughout all the seasons like an evergreen tree, surviving and thriving through all the seasons. That's what you got to live by. So mentalism, you create your reality. Your reality is based on your thinking. That is what mentalism is. All is mind. Depending on what you think, you can either maximize your potential or limit your potential. Let's rewind that. Depending on how you think or what you think, you could maximize your potential or limit your potential. Listen to reason, rays from the sun, the projection of supreme intelligence, the sun, which lives in us. That's why we are called seed suns and seed stars. We are the small seeds of the sun, of the larger macro sun. We are the small stars of the macro version of the stars. That's why we are the seed of the sun, the seeds of the star. That's why I say seed suns and seed stars. Instead of saying brothers and sisters all the time, I say seed suns, seed stars. Listen to reason, rays from the sun. So what you need to know, repetition is the mother and father of learning and skills. So get the skills instilled in every cell, neuron pathway, dendrite, synapses, in all of your physiology. Axon with all of your physiology. Listen to reason, rays from the sun. All is mind. You have to recognize that you are God. The scriptures even tell you are God. I think it's Psalms 82:6. Ye are gods. John 10:34. Ye are gods, if I'm correct. But anyhow, I'll say that for later. I'm not sure if the scriptures are exactly correct, but the scriptures tell us we are gods. And we are the children of the Most. Since we're the children of the Most High, that makes us gods. We're just seeds of God. Just like your children, your seeds and offspring are you, just a fusion of your union based on your connection through sex, sacred exchange of energy, which is information, which is intelligence, which is knowledge and wisdom that has been transferred to your offspring through intelligent genetics, intelligence, intelligent genes. Your son, your daughter, your seed son, your seed star is another version of you, living life in this new age. So they're in fact you, literally you, just a combination of both of you, the mother and the father. Listen to reason. All is mind. You create your reality. And your reality and how much control you have over your reality is based upon your willpower. How much will do you have within you to do something is going to determine how well you could manipulate your reality, how well you could control your reality. That's determined by your willpower. That's why if you don't have razor sharp focus, you're going to weaken your willpower. Because distractions are the catalyst to your downfall. Distractions are a catalyst to your downfall. Let me put this another way. Distractions lead you to the path of the precipice of defeat. Once you get distracted off your plans and your goals that you have in your life, once you get distracted, you split your energy in so many different directions that you spread yourself thin. That's why it's important to focus, to take all the energy in your body and focus on one thing at a time if you want to maximize your potential. If you're constantly spreading yourself out thin with all these different distractions, it's going to keep your mind confused. Most people aren't good multitaskers. They lose focus easily. So it's wise, if you want your will to manifest swifter, quicker in your reality, in your simulation, in your matrix, focus on one thing at a time. Put all your energy in becoming accomplished in that one endeavor at a time. Don't spread yourself too thin. You got to know your limits. Well, at the same time, you got to know that you are limitless. Know your limits currently, but at the same time, you got to recognize your potential and know that you're truly limitless when you get to your maximum potential. But you know that life that you're living right now in this human experience puts you in a state of limitation right now. Everybody knows we're in a state of limitation. Life right now is about growth and development. The purpose of growth and development is to remove the chains, the cage that is within our cipher of living, so we're not limited as much as we are. Growth and development takes the binds off our mind, binds off our bodies. So if you don't grow and develop, how are you gonna go from limited to limitless? The only way you could go from a limited to limitless is if you make sure you do your best. There is no try, because trying leads to failure. The only thing that matters is that you do your best in everything you do. Put all your energy and do the best in every single thing you do if you want to grow and you develop. Because the only way you're going to truly grow and develop is if you do your best at it. And then even if you do fail at whatever you're attempting to do in life, even if you do fail, you're going to learn a lesson. Hopefully you learn a lesson. If you're truly intelligent, you're going to learn a lesson, and you're going to learn to make changes in your life. You have to learn to make changes in your life. And the only way you can make changes in your life, you got to take the chains and you got to get out of the cage of limitation. Overcome your weaknesses and make them your strengths. And make your strengths stronger, fortified, more profound, more prolific, more poetic in motion. Manifesting. Improve your strengths and make your weaknesses a strength or strengths. Growth and development. Take the chains and get out of the cage so you can make a positive change for your elevation and ascension. So you have to recognize that all is mind. You are the alchemist of your reality, your simulation in this holographic world, also called the Matrix, made of tricks. So the reality we're living right now is your current reality. Even though it's only a possibility, we know it's a current reality. We're living right now. Everything else doesn't matter right now. The other possibilities that can exist don't matter right now. What matters right now is what we're doing right now, is what matters. There's no point thinking to the future or the past unless you're gonna absorb what is useful and valuable, discard what is not, and make it uniquely your own. The whole point of looking back in your past is to learn from your mistakes. Learn from your predecessors and ancestors. Take the knowledge and wisdom and elevate the knowledge and wisdom. Progress and grow the knowledge and wisdom. Do better than your predecessors and ancestors. So let's get back to the principles of the universe. Mentalism. You are the alchemist of your simulation. You are the alchemist of your simulation. Your matrix, made up tricks. So you are the God. You create your reality. That's why all is mind. That's why Hermetic principle states that all is mind when we're dealing in the holographic world that we're living in right now. All is mind. You limit yourself based on your thinking. And your thinking can either limit your way of life, limit the brightness of your light, or it can maximize the lumens of your light. Your lumen consciousness can be maximized based on how you think. That is why all is mind. All is mind. Whatever you think you can do or can't do, you are right. Let's rewind that. Whatever you think you can do or can't do, you are right. And what you can do and what you can't do is based on your programming, based on what you have been taught, based on what you have been indoctrinated with, based on how you were educated. That is going to limit the perception of your reality, is your programming. So that's why everybody out here cannot be enlightened or cannot get to the higher states of lumen consciousness, because their lumen consciousness is very dim. In other words, their knowledge, their KOS is dim. Their wisdom is dim. It's low. They're babies to this reality. And they got some growth and development to do before they get to the stage that you're going through right now. The ones that are enlightened or awakened at the first stages of enlightenment. Because enlightenment is vast. There's different levels and different plateaus of enlightenment. It's grand, it's supremely grand, it's vast. Listen to reason. Rays from the sun. So let's move on to correspondence. We talked about mentalism. All is mind. Everything that you think you can or can't do, you are right. Because you create your simulation. You limit yourself or you maximize yourself. That's depending on your thought. That is what mentalism is. That is what mind. It's about mastering your mind. Mastering your mental facilities and your mental faculties. Having dominance over your mentality. When you have dominance over your mentality, you'll have dominance over your physical body. Let's rewind that. When you have dominance over your mentality, you will have dominance, control, and supreme authority over your physical body. Listen to reason. Rays from the sun. Moving on to the second principle of the second law of the universe, or the principle of the universe, is correspondence. Everything in this life is connected in some way, form, or fashion. Do not be deceived by the illusion that you're living in right now. We may be able to see distinct things that appear to be different, but when we get to the source and root of it all, we are all connected. Despite the illusion of the superficial differences that we see on the outside, we're all connected. We all come from one source of energy. We all come from the all. We all come from the all for one. We all come from the one to all. You see how these animes instill occult information, esoteric information within the animes. Like, for example, if some of you watch anime called Boku Hero Academia, if you watch Hero Academia, you know that they have their specific powers. The protagonist has a power called, I think it's all for one for all, and then the antagonist has a power called all for one and one for all. So basically, when you look at the concept of the anime, all power can be transferred to one being. And at the same time, that one being can transfer all power to everything else outside. So you're seeing the hidden esoteric knowledge there. I invite you to look at that anime. There's a lot of hidden knowledge there. So so basically, let me break it down further. Let me get some water first. Hold on. Hydration. So when I say all for one, one for all, that is the principle of correspondence. Because everything is connected in some form, way, or fashion. Despite the illusion of differences and distinction amongst one another that we see when it comes to persons, people, places, and things, right? We think everything's different outside of us when we all come from one source. We all come from the primordial waters of noon, or the quantum field of infinite possibilities, or the triple state of blackness. We all come from the blackness. We are all projecting our Lumen consciousness, our light, from the white light, which comes out of the black light, which is the mother and father of all light spectrums, the black light. White light is the rival or the opposite of the black light. Black light is when everything is what? All is in one. So this is how I'm going to combine all for one, one for all. Listen to reason. Black light, which is the mother and father to all of existence, is the all for one. Because all things that we see in this universe really goes down to one thing, is the blackness. One to all, one for all, represents the white light. Because the white light projects the reality, one of the possibilities of this reality we see, which we're living in right now. So the white light projects the possibility of the infinite possibility contained within the blackness. It projects a possibility of the infinite possibility contained within the blackness, in which we see right now in a current matrix simulation, the holographic world we see right now. So the white light allows us to perceive a current reality right now. So let's get to the science of black light and white light. Black light is all light spectrums in synchronicity, synergy, and unison. fused together as one. That's where we all come from, is the triple state of blackness, which is the black light. Darkness is different from black light. They may look the same, but they're not the same. When we're talking about blackness, that's the state of ignorance, a state of almost non-movement, no progression. Black light is the supreme intellect of the universe, the supreme God of the universe, the dark light, which projects its creation through white light. So people have the illusion and think that the white light represents good, and they think that the black represents evil, and that's not the case at all. Not the case at all. What I suggest you, brothers and sisters, do. This is. I'm gonna bring another anime. I suggest this is another anime I'm gonna suggest you watch. This is gonna open your mind. I suggest you go back and watch the whole anime of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. When you watch the whole anime of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, you're gonna see that there's gonna be coming antagonists that has a black force which is considered evil, and there's gonna be an antagonist that is considered a white light force that is considered evil. I'm gonna let you go watch that series, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, another anime. Watch that series. You're gonna see it's gonna open your mind. You gotta look deeper. You gotta look you gotta look past the superficial layers, and see deeper than truth. You have been programmed to think that darkness is evil, and that's not the case at all. Not the case at all. That's just a perception you've been programmed with. You've been programmed to think that white light is good. That's a perception that you've been programmed with. Depending on the circumstances that the dark light takes on or the white light takes on, it can be either good or evil. It depends on what happens and how the energy is. What's the word I'm looking for? It all depends how you choose to perceive the energy that you're viewing. Darkness does not mean it's evil. White light don't make it evil either. You've been programmed to think that. Because the mother and father of all life in the first place comes from the dark light. White light does not exist without the dark light. People like to confuse the darkness and the light. Darkness is the absence of light. Dark light is not the absence of light. It's light at its highest potential. Woo! Listen to Reason. Dark light is energy at its highest maximized potential. Listen to Reason. Rays from the sun. Why do you say that, Nathan? Dark light is the unification, the synchronous and unison of all light spectrums. All light spectrums. All of it. Invisible and visible. White light is basically the polar opposite of the black light, and white light's responsibility is to separate and distinguish each variation of the light spectrum that is contained within the dark light. That's what the white light does. That's what allows us to see our different so-called illusion of difference when we all come from one source. So when we're talking about the law of correspondence, we're dealing with the law of connection, the law of likeness, the law of connection, the law of relation, the law of family. We all come from one source. We're just all organized differently. That's why we take on this human form. That's why you see all the insects look different. They come in a different organization of energy. That's why you see animal life. They take their different forms. That's just a different organization of energy. You see the sea life, the aquatic life in the sea. That's just a different form of manifestation of energy that is organized differently. Although our root and the source of that energy is all the same, it's just organized differently. This is what you need to comprehend here. When energy is subjected to the state of sacred geometry or structure, order, and shape, you're in fact limiting that energy's potential, or you're putting a more specific function on that energy that you're creating a shape in. When you shape energy, you're in fact limiting the energy. You're putting boundaries on the energy. That's why we have shape now. We're in a human shape right now. Therefore, we just limited ourselves since we took on a shape. But as we go back to a gas state or a plasmic etherious state, we become more limitless. When we begin to crystallize and densify ourselves, we in fact limit ourselves. We see it every single day. If you want to know how the higher beings operate, look at the water cycle. The water cycle shows it all. When we're living in the earth realm right now, we're living in a what? We're living in an ice state right now. We're in a condensed form right now. We're in a crystallized state right now. So therefore, if you want to parallel it with the water cycle, we're an iced creation right now. We're living in an iced creation. Then the next level up is the liquid aquatic level of existence. Then it's what? Evaporation, turning into a gas state of existence. And then the higher state of gas, we're going into the noble gases. That's where we go into ether and plasma gases, which is the highest state of gas, of intellectual noble gases. So you see how when you go from a gas, you begin to become limitless. Because you get larger, you start to spread apart. Your omnipotence, your omnipresence, your omniscience begins to expand. Your consciousness begins to expand when you go back to your etheric state, your plasmic state of existence. That's when you're getting closer to the Supreme Most High God. We see it every day in nature. Nature shows us this every single day. We are composed of gases, liquids, and solids. So which you need to understand, equal stand, overstand when it comes to the correspondence. Everything is connected. We all come from one source. The only reason we look different from each other right now, and there's many different variations in this world right now, is because we're living in the world of the white light, which makes things separate and distinct. Although when we get behind the white light, it's the black light, which is the mother and father of all light spectrums, which creates life, light, which is the same thing, life, light. So all is connected, all corresponds with one another. Truly, there is no separation when you think about it. We're just under an illusion of separation because of the white light. We're under the illusion of competition right now because we're in the white light. That's just a possibility. It's a reality that we live in right now. And that's what reality is at the moment that we're living this life right now. That's what reality is. Shout out to Dr. Ministinky. Powerful song with Architect. Reality is. That's the reality. So correspondence deals with relation, it deals with connection with one another, because we all come from one source. Now vibration, we're moving on to the third principle of the laws of the universe. correspondence. We talked about mentalism, correspondence. Vibration is next. We know that everything vibrates in the universe. Everything has a vibration. No matter how dense it may seem or how airy it may seem, everything is moving. Everything is always moving. Energy is always moving. It's just we are under a limitation and we can't see the movement all the time. Because since we're limited in this body, we have a specific field of perception as we're living in this body. We can only see a specific spectrum of visual energy, visual light, and we can only hear a specific spectrum of sound. And this is going to vary amongst many different life forms on the planet. Some life forms on the planet, some animal life in the sea and on land can hear a wider frequency of sound than we can. Some animals in the sea and on land can see a wider frequency or a frequency that we can't see visually. They could see what we can't see visually because their band of visual frequency is different than ours. Just as we see things that a lot of animals and aquatic life can't see, and they see things that we can't see. And some animals and some aquatic life can see our range of vision and more. Listen to reason. This is why humans should not get too arrogant and think they're the best of everything, because that's not the case. We're not the best of everything on the planet. When it comes to an intelligence, we are, but we're not the best of everything on the planet. Listen to reason. Listen to reason. Everything has a purpose on this planet. That's what you keep in mind. Listen to reason. Rays from the sun. So when we're talking about vibration, it's pretty simple. Everything vibrates no matter how solid it may be or no matter how airy it may be. It's obvious when something is very gassy and airy, we see movement with it. But when something is like solid like a diamond, it looks like it's not moving, but it really is moving. It's just moving at so slow that you cannot perceive it because it's outside the spectrum of your visual prowess, or it's outside the spectrum of your visual audio reception that you pick up with your ears. Listen to reason. That's simple. Vibration is simple. Everything in the universe moves. So since everything in the universe moves, that means everything has a sound to it. Everything has a sound to it. It's just not, all sound is just not perceivable to you. All sound is just not perceivable to you. But anything that moves, which is everything moves, has a sound to it. It has imperceivable sound and perceivable sound. You just can't hear it in your current formation that you're in right now as a human. So that's simple. Law of vibration is just the law that simply means that everything is moving. Everything is moving in a specific pattern, in a specific order, in a specific structure, according to the law of sacred geometry, which in fact, sacred geometry deals with how energy is organized, how energy is shaped in reality. That's what sacred geometry is. So when we're looking at the periodic table, that's sacred geometry. That's dealing in how energy is organized, how energy is structured, how energy is ordered. When we're looking at that periodic table of elements and minerals, that's just the organization of energy in a specific name that we call it based on what we choose to call it. That's all it is. It's just an organization of energy, of electromagnetism and light organized in a specific amount of electrons and protons and neutrons, and according to the distinction and amount that it has, we give it a specific name. But when you get to the root and source of it, it's all light, it's all electromagnetism. And I'll be getting to that. What the elements of the universe is made up of, the forces of nature of the universe, the 7 principles of that. So we're going to move on from vibration. All things are always moving, no matter how solid it may be or no matter how airy it may be. So the next one is the law of rhythm. Like I was mentioning before, the law of rhythm Everything in the universe moves, and that's based on vibration, right? It all moves based on vibration in a specific pattern. As we're living in the holographic realm, the white light projection that creates this holographic simulation and matrix made of tricks, everything is moving. And since everything has a distinction, because the white light reflects and separates all light spectrums from the sun, that's what white light does. Separates and makes everything distinct. That creates organization. Because when we look at the black light, there is no we can't discern anything in the black light. It just looks black. Because we can't perceive it. Because it's the realm of infinite possibilities. In other words, the primordial water of noon, nothingness, which is really everything, it's the potential of everything. Nothingness is the potential of everything. Everything is nothing. The only difference between nothing and everything is that nothing is the potential of everything that we see now. Everything is basically, we're able to distinguish everything and give it names based on what we choose to do and call those things that we see. Everything is distinguishable. Nothing is not distinguishable. But nothing is everything. Everything is nothing. Nothing creates everything, as everything comes from nothing. People think there is no such thing as no thing. Something is always there. Energy is always there. When people are saying no thing, what they're really saying is that they can't make out the shape of the energy. That's what they're saying. I can't make up the shape of this energy. That's what no thing is. But there always is something there. There's always going to be something there. Energy is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. That's what nothing is. Nothing is actually everything. Listen to reason. Listen to rays from the sun. Am I being clear? Am I clear? Nothing is actually everything. I'm going to say it one more time. Everything, something, and everything is only principles that we can separate and distinguish and name. But when we say nothing, that nothing is basically the energy that we cannot perceive, that we cannot understand, equal stand, overstand, and outstand, because it's everywhere. It's like infinite. It's infinite. When something is infinite, it's nothing. We can't perceive it because it's infinite. It's beyond the spectrum of our mentality. That's what we call nothing. But infinity is everything. Infinity is something that we cannot perceive and understand, a lot of us. Because we're in a limited status, a limited capacity of light right now. Nothing is actually everything we see now. It's synonymous with everything. Nothing is synonymous with everything. The only difference is that nothing, we cannot perceive the shape, form, when we're beholding the nothing. That's why we say nothing. We just cannot perceive it. We cannot perceive the shape and form. But when we're operating in the white light, we can perceive the shape and form. So that's why we could call it something or everything. Because we can perceive it. Nothing, we can't perceive it. Although nothing is everything. We just can't perceive it because we have a limited spectrum of visual prowess, and all our prowess when it comes to our senses are limited. That's why we have to use the concept of nothing, even though there is something always. Energy is omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. That's the supreme state. That's the supreme, most high state of existence. So, what you need to comprehend, everything vibrates. No matter how fast or slow it may perceive to you, how still it may be, it vibrates. And when it's moving and vibrating, everything has a specific pattern, shape, order, structure. That's what gives it its specific shape that we see. That the white light allows us to see the shape. The white light, in fact, the white light, in fact, limits energy. When energy is limited, it creates shape, it creates form, it creates pattern, it creates structure, order, chaos. Are you hearing me? Blackness is everything, is all people, places, and things at the same time. It's just in its infinite form that it cannot be perceived at this time, until the white light comes out of the blackness, separating each light spectrum to create a reality that we can understand and perceive through our visual cortex, right? So once the white light projects itself through the mind, through correspondence, through vibration, through rhythm, which is the limitation of energy, put in an electrical grid to make a shape, a form, a pattern. That's when energy is limited. That's when the Most High Supreme God is limited. When the Most High Supreme God takes a shape, that's when the Most High Supreme God limits themselves. And one of the shapes that the Most High Supreme God has limited himself to is the image after his likeness, his and her likeness, right? We are after his and her likeness. So the Most High limited himself in our current form and shape. That's why we are lowercase God body. Listen to Rayson, rays from the sun. As above, so below, so above, as within, also without. Law of correspondence. Everything is connected. So we know that we are all things at all time. We know that. Well, at the same time, we're living in reality is we're living in the white light right now. So the reality is we're currently different. We're currently separated. We're currently not unified in the oneness right now. All is not one right now. Although it's always all is one. All is always one, but right now one is representing all. One is, well, let me say it right. The blackness actually represents everything. Blackness represents everything. Blackness represents everything. You have to keep in mind, blackness is the all. That's the all. That's why when you look at the universe, everything's black. And then you see stars and lights and spirals of light energy. That's all come out of the blackness. You see it every day in your science. Listen to Reason, rays from the sun. So everything is moving, vibration. When everything has a specific shape, takes on a shape, takes organization, takes a pattern, that's rhythm. Rhythm. A specific pattern is rhythm. That's what we're living in. We're living in a world of rhythm right now. We're living in a world of rhythm, a world of pattern right now. That's why we're able to see distinction, discern. We're able to discern something and everything within the nothingness. We're able to discern something and everything from the nothingness because we're living in the projection of the white light right now, which allows us to see separation, division, competition, ego, pride, attributes, all these different things that we're perceiving in the world today. It allows us to see the different polarities. We're going to be moving on. So we talked about mentalism, correspondence. Hold on. Mentalism. You are the controller of your reality. Because whatever you think you can or can't do, you are right. That's mentalism. Correspondence is as above, so below, so above, as within, also without, as without, also within. One moment. Make sure everything is still being viewed, right? Let's check here. One moment. I just cut out there. I have to make sure I'm here. Right? One moment. Let's check here. Okay, let me continue. Hold up. One moment. Okay, looks like it's back. So I have to make sure because it looked like the broadcast cut off briefly. So, like I was saying, correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. As within, also without. Vice versa. Everything is connected and correlated with one another. Everything goes back to one source. That's what makes us everything correlate. That's why everything is correlated. Everything is related. Everything is considered family. And when you get to the actual root and source of everything. So you have to keep that in mind. Where are we at? Vibration. Everything is moving at all times, no matter how solid it may be. Rhythm. Everything has a shape to it. Everything has a pattern. Everything has an order, structure to it. That's the law of rhythm. What's the next one? Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, rhythm, polarity. Every force in the universe has a protagonist, antagonist, or a rival or an adversary. Positive energy, negative energy. Good and bad, depending on how you are programmed. It does not mean that positive energy and negative energy is good and bad. That's not what I'm saying. Because in order to create electromagnetism, you need positive and negative energies, right? You need friction. To create thermal heat, and that thermal heat eventually is gonna create a spark of electricity and magnetism. And it also creates sound and light. Friction creates light. Spark of light and electromagnetism, which is all one and the same. Electricity, magnetism, light, sound are all pretty much the same, and they all come in existence at the same time pretty much. So when you think about it, polarity is essential for life to exist in the current form we are in right now. Because if there wasn't any distinction, life would not exist. If there is no friction in life, life would not exist. Because you need to have opposing forces clashing in order to create a spark. In order to create substance. You need opposition, rivals, protagonists, antagonists to create friction. And that's not a good nor bad thing. It can be looked in a good or bad way, depending on how you choose to perceive it. But generally speaking, in order for life to exist, in order for you to see the light, friction must be produced. Let me just rewind that. In order for you to see the light, friction must be produced. And we live in the world of projection of the white light reality. White light separates things. That produces the friction to separate things. So it takes the black light and uses the friction to separate each light spectrum of the rainbow, the invisible and visible light, and creates a current reality as it begins to crystallize. As these energies begin to crystallize, it creates our current manifestation and fruition of life that we see right now on the earth. When it begins to condense, compact, and crystallize in its current organized pattern, rhythm, and formation of life that we see right now. So you have to keep that in mind. That's the law of polarity. It is essential to life. We can't have life without friction. In other words, we can't have life without rivals, without adversaries, opposition. Life cannot exist without that. So polarity is a must. When we're in the triple state of blackness, there is no polarity. Everything is one. Everything is one. But when we're in the white light, polarity exists. So that's just a simple concept that everybody should be understood. Energy cannot be produced without friction. You have to understand that. You have to understand that. equals stand, overstand, and outerstand that. Life needs friction. Because light cannot show itself without friction. Light cannot show itself without friction. Light cannot show itself without friction. Movement, if things are moving, sound is always created. Is always created. Just making sure everything's good to cut out again. I just saw something cut out. So just checking. Alright. Sound is always created through movement. Whether you hear the sound or not, there's always sound. Whether there's movement, we know that everything is always moving. So therefore that everything has sound. So we know that everything has sound based on its movement. And everything is moving. Always. At all times. No matter how solid it is. So polarity. Everything needs light. In order for us to see things, it needs friction. If there's no friction, all we see is blackness. That's what makes nothing. If there's no friction, that's all we're going to see is blackness. When there's friction, that's when we see everything we see now. Listen to reason, rays from the sun. So now we talked about mentalism, correspondence, vibration, rhythm, polarity. Polarity is essential for life to even be seen. Polarity is essential to life to be even seen in the current way it's seen. So you need polarity in order to see life and perceive life. What's the next one? Cause and effect, or in other words called karma. There is no such thing as coincidences. No such thing as coincidences. It's called karma. There is no such thing as coincidences. Coincidence is a sign and symbol of your ignorance. You thinking that coincidence, if you thinking something is a coincidence, is a sign and symbol of your ignorance. You lack knowledge. Because there is no coincidence. You are the creator of your reality. There is no coincidence. We're going back to the first principle of the universe, law of the universe. Mentalism. You create your reality. There is no such thing as coincidence. Everything happens for a reason. That's why there's cause and effect. Things don't happen without a cause. And effects don't happen without a cause. Causes don't happen without an effect. Effects don't happen without a cause. Just as you reap what you sow, that's another way of saying it. That's karma. You reap what you sow. You get back what you put in. That's karma. That's cause and effect. That's just a different a way of looking at it. When we turn cause and effect into karma, we start to go in the territories of morality. You reap what you sow. What you put in, you're going to get back. Listen to reason, rays from the sun. So cause and effect, karma, reap what you sow is the same thing. Just put in different teaching methods. It's all the same thing. For every cause, there's an effect. For every effect, there's a cause. So effects can happen in your life if there's effects. The effects that happen in your life was created by a cause. And for every cause, there's an effect. And when that cause happens, it's going to create an effect. And that effect is created by a cause. It's always going in within each other, going back in a cycle. Cause and effect. So that should be self-explanatory. There is no coincidences. Things don't happen for no reason. Everything has a reason to it. You just can't perceive the reason because you're in a limited mental capacity right now. But eventually down the line, you're going to find out that that so-called coincidence was not a coincidence. When you begin to expand your Lumen consciousness, when your knowledge and wisdom begins to expand, which is Lumen consciousness, lumens deal with how bright you shine. Right now, you have a dim. Your lumens are dim right now. So you think that coincidence exists. You think that God does not exist. But every time you look in the mirror, you're looking at God. At least a piece of God you're looking at, because you're in a limited capacity. But you're a piece of God. You're still part of the all, as the all is in you. You are a part of the all, as the all is in you. You are part of the all, as the all is in you. One for all for one. Listen to recent. Am I still being heard clearly, right? So cause and effect. There is no such thing as coincidence. Coincidence is just a sign and symbol of your ignorance. Coincidences that you perceive to be is this a sign and symbol of your ignorance. Listen to reason, rays from the sun. Everything happens for a reason. Everything has a specific purpose. No matter how little it may seem to you, it has a purpose. Everything has a purpose. It's just outside your perception. That's all it is. The problem resides within you because you are under a limited state within your mental facilities and your mental faculties. You limit your perception based on your programming, your thinking. That's why some of you may, or a lot of you may think coincidences happen when there's no such thing as coincidence. Everything happens for a purpose, a reason. For every cause, there's an effect. For every effect, there's a cause. Science tells you that. Cause and effect, right? Science tells you that. For every cause, there's an effect. For every effect, there's a cause. And the last principle of the universe, the last seven principle of this last seven law principle of the universe is generation. Everything that you see in existence through the projection of the white light needs generation, needs gender, which is an extension of polarity. In order to create life, like I said, which is another derivative of light, life is a derivative of life. Life is a derivative of light. It's a specific spectrum of light. Listen to reason. So generation, the universe uses generation or creation or production or manufacturing to produce the illusion of new things. Listen to reason. The scripture says there's no new thing under the sun. Generation is required in universe to create the illusion of new things. Listen to reason. This is why there's masculine principles in the universe and feminine principles of the universe. And they manifest and come into fruition at many different layers of existence, levels of existence. Many different ways. Universal, masculine, feminine principles. Terrestrial, masculine and feminine principles. They manifest in different forms. They manifest in the extremes, which is masculine formation and feminine formation. And sometimes they're going to manifest in a neutral position. And like I said, listen very carefully. Generation produces extremes. It can produce masculine extremes and feminine extremes. And those masculine and feminine extremes can produce fusion, neutral ways of existence. Listen to reason. That is what balance is. Deals with balancing of both extremes. Listen to reason. You see this as many different layers of existence, many different levels of existence. We see this. Masculine, feminine, combination of the two. Are you starting to get the drift? Nature manifests in many different ways. It's a polarity issue, right? Remember, when we study science, in an atom, there is what? Protons, electrons, neutrons. Electron is negative polarity, proton is positive polarity, neutron is a fusion of both. So it's a fusion of both polarities. At an atomic level, we see this. At a mammal level or human level, you're going to get some people come into existence that may have a balanced spirit. Should I even need to go further? When we look into the seasons, we see that there's distinct seasons: spring, summer, autumn, winter. However, some parts of the world, there's going to be a dominance of winter. That's extreme. And then that's in the solar arctical parts of the world. And then there's other parts of the world, when we're talking about the equator, the solar tropical part of the world, which has an abundance of summer. And then when we go in between those lanes, you're going to find a neutral. You're going to find places in the world where it has a combination of all the seasons. And then sometimes, even amongst the combination of all the seasons, sometimes during the winter time, we're gonna get days of spring and summer in the winter time. Even though it's supposed to be a dominant winter time, sometimes the pocket holes are gonna show up in winter of spring and summer. We're gonna get really warm days, even though we're in the season of winter, which is supposed to be what? From December to late March is the season of winter. Sometimes we're gonna get spring and summer weather in the season of winter. Just as in spring, sometimes we're going to get winter season in the time of spring. It's going to suddenly get cold some days. When we get the summer, the weather's going to get suddenly change. It get cooler and be cooler than it normally is. That's signs of winter trying to come back and enter the state of summer. So some of the summer days may have the appearance of cooler days, and it's going to be abnormal. But we see this every single day. We see this manifest every single day through the hermetic principles of the universe, which is what I'm talking about right now. That's why generation, polarity, generation, which is gender, polarity, which is basically a bridging and connection of one another, which is one and the same, almost, just a different way of describing it. It's required to see life. In order for life to exist, we require generation, creation of life, which is gender, generation. Masculine, feminine principles must come together in sex at all different levels to create life in all its different forms, to create light in all its different forms, all its derivative forms. Light is a derivative of electricity and magnetism and sound and everything else. So now that we completed one set of the 777 of the universe, which is the law, the principles of the universe, the laws of the universe, which is the hermetic principles, how the universe works, which is supreme mathematics, united song. Universe is united song. A united song is the universe, and that's made up of the rules of supreme mathematics, the supreme intelligence of supreme mathematics. That's the universe. So now that you got the 7 principles down packed, take notes. The first set of 7 of the principles and laws of the universe is mentalism, correspondence, vibration, rhythm, polarity, cause and effect or karma, generation, gender, production, creation, manufacturing. That's the 7 laws that make up how the universe works, how it works. Now we're going to be moving on to the forces of nature that make up the universe. Everything is going to be connecting very clearly in this teaching today. That's what we're going to be moving to now. So we're going to the second set of the 777 principles of the universe right now. So I'm going to list this out here. The forces of nature that make up the universe is, the 7 forces of nature that make up the universe is, take notes, magnetism, electricity, light, ether, gases, liquids, solids. So let me expand this. Let me make things more clear. That's primarily what the universe is made up of. So let me add on to this. Let me bridge and connect this even further. Magnetism represents predominantly the feminine principle. Predominantly feminine principle. Electricity represents predominantly the masculine principle. Light is the offspring and seed of electricity and magnetism, as well as sound. Light slash sound. But when you really think about it, all of these come into existence at the same time. Because remember what the scripture says. First there was the Word. The Word came into existence, and that created life. When the Most High Creator spoke the Word, in other words, at a scientific level, when the Word was spoken, that represents what? Mentalism, right? Mentalism is thinking and thought. Mentalism. Your creativity, the root energy in which all things come from is correspondence. And the way energy moves is vibration. Energy moves in vibration, and the pattern that energy follows in or flows in is rhythm. And the different extremes that energy can take on is polarity. And the laws that the energy follows is cause and effect. And in order to create energy in the first place, you need generation. And generation comes from thought. When you're thinking, you're producing generation. Generation produces all things in the universe at all its different levels of existence. So, magnetism represents predominantly feminine force. We know that magnetism and electricity cannot exist without one another. They can only trade places as a dominant or recessive force, depending on how the energy is being used. But predominantly, magnetic energy is predominantly a feminine force. Electrical energy is predominantly a masculine force. When these forces come together in sex, sacred exchange of energy, information, knowledge, wisdom, to create seeds and offsprings, which is a derivative or another version of themselves called light, sound. Light, sound, slash sound. Remember, all movement has sound. So when you're thinking, it creates all these things at the same time. It creates a spark. When friction happens, you're creating electricity, magnetism, light, and sound, all pretty much at the same time. Pretty much. Those are the 4 primal forces that create everything here. And then when everything is condensed, compacted, and crystallizes, it creates ether slash plasma, all gases, liquids, solids. Magnetism, electricity, light slash sound, ether slash plasma, gases, liquids, solids. That's what the universe is made up of. That's what the forces of nature that make up the universe. And all the derivatives that come out of the gases, liquids, solids, that's what we see. So that covers the second set of the 777 principles of the universe, which is the forces of nature that make up the universe itself. Now we're going to go into the morality of the universe. Morality of the universe. We're going on the final 7. The final set of 7, the morality of the universe. When we look at the laws, this is basically a bridging and connecting of the laws of the universe. In order for the laws of the universe to exist the way it does, there's specific morals that it takes on. And that is truth. Truth is basically a compilation of facts that the universe is built upon. Truth is the highest form of knowledge. Truth, it is what it is. Truth is a supreme knowledge, supreme wisdom. That's the highest form of all science, is truth. And facts are pieces of truth that could be proven. Facts are pieces or bricks of truth that could be proven at a physical level in which we live in right now. Facts are pieces of truth which can be proven. Listen to recent. So facts are only pieces of truth. There's really only one truth. One truth. There's an illusion of many truths, but there's really only one truth. Listen to recent. Justice, which deals with fairness, balance. And we know that that nature could go all in extremes. But in its natural state, truth, justice, in other words, fairness, balance, which is an extension of justice, balance, harmony, order, reciprocity, propriety. I'm going to repeat it one more time. The morals of the universe are truth, which is bricks of facts built into a total building of supreme truth, absolute truth. There's an illusion of individual truths, but there's only one truth. Truth, it's just everybody has a piece of the puzzle they need to put together. Some people have more of the pieces of the puzzle than others, which allows them to have more bricks of facts to get closer to the absolute truth. So truth, justice, in other words, fairness is another word for it. Justice, truth, justice. And justice, you know what justice deals with? It connects to what? Cause and effect. Cause and effect. Whatever you reap, you sow. So if you're unfair, if you choose to not operate in justice, you're going to get the same injustice that you sowed, you reaped and sowed. So if you choose to go in opposition of the polarity of these principles, you're still gonna get back to you what you put in. Listen to reason. So don't try to be slick. There's no getting around it. When you go against the laws, this 777 principles of the universe, which is the laws of God in its most supreme state. Once you go against those things, you are now put into the wrath of God, and that's where sickness, illness, and disease happens to you. Calamity happens to you when you go against these principles. Listen to reasons. Let's continue. Truth, justice, or in other words, fairness. Truth, justice, balance, harmony, order, reciprocity, propriety. Truth deals with absolute supreme knowledge and wisdom, which is the highest form of information, intelligence that the universe is made up. The truth of the universe, what it's about and what it's made of, that's the truth. Justice is dealing with fairness, balance, cause and effect, karma, fairness. All that stuff is embodies this. Reciprocity, all of it embodies, but we're dealing with truth, justice, balance, harmony, which means you must be in tune with the musical symphony, orchestras, and compositions of Almighty Nature. Harmony. You got to be in tune. When you're against harmony, you're in chaos and discord. You're out of tune. That's when the wrath of God befalls you. Disease, sickness, and illness befalls you. When you're out of tune, that's what happens to you. You go into a polarity in which you don't want to be in which you're not naturally made to be in. You go into a polarity that you're not supposed to be in, and that's where problems happen to you. So truth, justice, balance, harmony, reciprocity deals with serving one another. Like I said, you reap what you sow. So if you serve each other well, well is going to come back to you. If you serve each other poorly, poor is going to come back to you. Reciprocity. You're seeing how this is all connected to the 777 of the universe. And the way morality moves, and the way, hold on, let me get this right. The way morality moves, and the way the Hermetic principles moves is through the forces of nature and the way they move, which is based on magnetism, electricity, light, ether, gases, liquid, solids. Those laws moved according to those forces of nature, because that's what everything's made up of. Energy. Everything is energy. All people, places, and things is energy. Remember that. And these all work in a specific order, structure, pattern, polarity, which forms sacred geometry, which forms law, and how the universe works. So when we're talking about truth, justice, balance, harmony, order, reciprocity, serving one another, propriety is dealing with giving each other respect, shining light upon one another, is dealing with Ra-Spect. Ra represents sun, Ra represents sun and the light that gets shined upon the spectacle, which is you. Spectacle is essentially the focused thing, the speck that you're focusing the light on, the spectacle. You're shining the light on the spectacle that you're speaking with. That is Ra-Spect. You could give respect, or you could be disrespectful. Disconnect the sun from the speck. That's disrespect. So you're taking the shine away from the person you're dealing with, person, place, and thing you're dealing with. That's disrespect. Discord and disharmony is going against harmony and balance. Discord and disharmony and chaos is going against harmony, order, and balance. When you operate in chaos, discord, and disharmony. You could choose to go in that polarity if you like, because life is about polarity. You need friction in life in order for it to exist, and so we can perceive reality the way it is in this projection of the white world. You need friction. There needs to be an opposite polarity in order for this world, this white light world projection to work right? Anyways, that pretty much covers what I wanted to say for today's teaching today. Is there any questions? Any questions? Where are we at? Any questions that as it pertains to the teaching today? Any questions? Any questions? All right, let's see here. Eldred Thomas, are you still here? Does 555 mean anything? I haven't looked into that at the moment. I'm not sure yet. I can't give you an answer on that. I don't know that right at this time. 555, but numbers do have specific meanings. Each one of them has specific meanings. So I suggest you review the black roots, because there's too much to go into when I'm breaking down numbers. So I suggest you go look into the Black Root series. There's going to be a part in the series where it's talking about numbers, breaking down the importance of numbers and how numbers have a significance. There's one video, I think one or two videos describing the significance of numerology and Numbers. So go look into that, Eldred Thomas. Eldred Thomas says, are we then a part of the body of Christ since we are piece of God? What you need to comprehend with the terminology Christ or Messiah or Mashiach just means anointed one or enlightened one, or I like to say Lumen consciousness. I call it Lumen consciousness. Christ, anointed one, elevated one, enlightened one. That's what Christ, that's what Messiah, that's what Mashiach is. So when you are awakened into a higher state of knowledge, you can be considered a Christ. And Christ and Jesus that we say in English, Jesus the Christ, the anointed one, Jesus the elevated one, Jesus the enlightened one, Jesus the anointed one. He said, ye are gods, because ye are children of the Most High, that makes ye gods. Since you are children of the Most High, that makes you a piece of God, because the sperm that comes from the sperm that came from your dad, and the eggs that you grew and developed from, you are a piece of your parents. That's the law of correspondence. You are a piece of your parents. Eldred Thomas, that's the same way. As above, so is below. As within, so is without. That's the law of correspondence. Your mother and father gave birth to you, Eldred Thomas. So you are in fact a part of your mother and father. Even though we're in the illusion of separation right now, so it appears that you are separated and you're in your own body from your mother and father, but you actually are a part of them because you come from them. Just as your mother and father come from their mother and father all the way back to the beginning of time until we get to the first beings that exist, the humanoid beings that existed that the Most High created and after the image. As above, so below. As within, also without. The only difference between them is scales, size, and dimension. It's only size, scaling, and dimension. You are your universe. Your cells that live within you, your microorganisms, and all the beings that live within you see you as the Most High God. As you see an outside God, yourself. A being higher than you see as a God. Same thing. You're a piece of the Most High God. You're just under a state of limitation right now. You're in a state of ignorance right now. You are in fact a piece of the Most High God. You are children of the Most High God. When all the pieces of God come together as one, that's when you return to the Most High God and you become the Supreme Most High God. When you separate yourself into pieces under specific egos and ways of life, you become a lowercase God body under limitations. And as you progress up the hierarchy of God levels, you eventually go back to the highest state possible, which is the Most High. Listen to reason, rays from the sun. Jesus the Christ is just basically a predecessor or ancestor of us that was at a higher state of lumen consciousness than the average person. Jesus the Christ, or Yeshaya HaMashiach, or Yahushua HaMashiach, however you want to pronounce the name, Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, however you want to pronounce the name, Jesus the Christ, is just an enlightened man who knew the knowledge of God. He had lumen consciousness. He was a teacher of the knowledge, wisdom. Anointed and elevated with higher knowledge and wisdom. That's what Christ represents. Christ is essentially just means enlightened one, or anointed one, or elevated one. That's all Christ means. or Messiah, or Mashiach in the Hebrew, or Abarit, Lashoam HaKodash. Eldred Thomas, wisdom of what exactly? Be more clear with the question here. Wisdom of what? The whole teaching today was wisdom, brother. It's knowledge and wisdom, Eldred. Be more clear and specific of what you're referring to here. Kwaba Ra'el says, we all have the potential to be Christ-like. Yeah, there's a potential there, but most people will not reach their potential in this lifetime, unfortunately. So most people won't reach that potential in this lifetime. The path to life is narrow, and there are few be that walk on the path of life, of the middle path or the narrow way to life. Everybody's on the broad path, doing their own thing, doing everything and their own thing. Poetic Pearl says, is karma subjective? No, it isn't subjective, because karma is the same as cause and effect. For every cause, there's an effect. For every effect, there's a cause. That's science. Science always tells us that. There's always a cause. If there's a cause, it's going to create an effect. And if there was effect, there's going to be there was a cause for that effect. That's science. Karma is the same thing. It's just a different. It's just a religious way of describing cause and effect. But it's the same thing. Poetic Pearl, same thing. Cause and effect is equivalent to karma. Same thing. The Bible says, whatever you reap, you sow. Karma, in essence, karma says, whatever you do to somebody, you're gonna get that in return, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. Whether it's in this lifetime or the next, you're gonna get it. It's gonna come back to you in some way, form, or fashion. Listen to reason. Rays from the sun. Karma is universal law. It's universal law that comes from cause and effect. Listen to reason. And that's embodied in the Hermetic principles, cause and effect. So cause and effect is karma. It's you reap what you sow, as the scriptures like to break it down with in English. Is there any further questions before I put this to a close? Is there anything that wasn't clear today? Is there anything that needs to be described more clearer today? I made sure I slowed it down and repeated myself several times, so there really shouldn't be any reason to, but if people are still not understanding fully, I'll do my best to explain it again. So was everything clear today? Was all the knowledge that has been delivered to you like a mailman, was it received by you? Is there anything you're unsure of? So Poetic Pearl, karma is actually objective, because karma is actually cause and effect, which is science. Nothing could happen in this world without a cause. And a cause always creates an effect. As the effects that you see was created from a cause, or was a catalyst from a cause. Just as a cause creates an effect, effects are created from a cause. Based on that rule of everyday science that you learn in regular school, there is no coincidences. Everything happens for a reason. Energy moves the way it does because of a cause. And that cause creates an effect. And that effect that you see was created, or a catalyst of a cause. Is there any further questions before I end this teaching today? Come on, man, brave up, brave up. Is there any questions before we put this to a close? Because I'm about to drop this to close. Miss Valentine says, I appreciate you asking. I missed a lot of the show, but in the beginning, the show's gonna be posted. It's gonna upload on YouTube anyways when it processes. So Miss Valentine, you'll watch the show later when it processes, or you could go back, or you could rewind back. Since you're watching it now, you could rewind back and go to the beginning. So, but I'm gonna answer the question. I appreciate you asking. I missed a lot of the show, but in the beginning you spoke about perspectives. You spoke about perspectives and how we create our reality. You create a reality on it. What can I do to change my perspective, thought processes? The way you could change your thought processes is by studying different things. So I'm not sure what kind of thought process you have, what kind of belief you have. If you're a Christian is used to reading the Bible all the time. Since you're a Christian, why don't you take some time to study Buddhism? Go study Hinduism. Go study Islam. Go study other religions to expand your thinking, your perspective. There's nothing wrong with holding onto the foundation of the Christian, your Christian belief. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but you have to expand your way of thinking. You got to go study science. Study science. Study chemistry. Study biology. Study astrology. Study all those things. That's how you expand your perspective. The way you expand your perspective is by gaining more knowledge. Expanding your knowledge database. That's how you expand your perspective. You got to be open to the information, open to learning, because when you learn, you earn, you know, you grow. That's how you must flow, because life is about growth and development. Sometimes you got to come out of your box that you've been indoctrinated in, and accept and listen and hear other perspectives out, because each perspective has pieces of truth and facts contained within it. Listen to reason. Rays from the sun. Each perspective has pieces of truth and facts within it. That's why it's your responsibility to gather all the pieces of the puzzle, to come to one holistic atlas of the picture. So if you want to expand your perspective, you got to go outside the box you've been programmed in. Go outside your belief system. Go to a different belief system from a different culture and see what they believe and study what they believe and what they know. Study another culture's belief and what they know. Study science, the actual way of life that actually tests to see if these things are true. Science actually tests the merits of beliefs. So so the way you expand your horizons, your perception, go outside the box of what you've been taught. Go to different perspectives and different ways of life. Listen to what they have to say. Listen to the morals. Listen to the stories. That goes for all things you choose to follow, whatever interests you. It's just that simple. Collect the pieces of the puzzle. You cannot collect all the pieces of the puzzle if you just stay in one box. You got to expand your cipher. You got to break out of your cage, your box, and expand your cipher. Because you have to. Your responsibility is to collect all the pieces of the puzzle. Because you can't grow and develop in life. If you don't collect the pieces of the puzzle around the world, you cannot properly grow and develop in your life. Your responsibility is to collect the pieces of the puzzle of truth, knowledge, and facts that's contained with all ways of life. In essence, you got to be your own scientist. So you got to study, you got to test, and you got to see if those things work. And then if those things work you know it's facts, you know it's truth. But at the same time, like I said, all is mental, all is mind. Whatever you think is or is not, that's what it is for you. Whatever you think is or is not, or whatever you think you can or can't do, you are right. Whatever you think that is or isn't, you are right. That's based on your mind, your mentality. You create your reality. Listen to reason, rays from the sun. But if the person lacks an intellectual filter or wise discernment, they're going to have a problem perceiving the truth of reality and how it works. And in order for you to gain proper wisdom, proper intelligence and truth, you got to gather the pieces of the puzzle with no bias, no prejudice. You got to take time and study with no bias, no prejudice, no racism. Study. So what I'm going to leave you with, Miss Valentine, this is what Bruce Lee says. Absorb what is useful and valuable to you, discard what is not valuable and useful, and make that useful and valuable thing uniquely your own for your personal growth and development, Miss Valentine. Be your own scientist. So you got to do the testing, analysis, confirmation, verification, the experimentation, all that thing you got to do in your life, because you got to grow and develop yourself every day in every way. You must get better and better. And every day in every way, I must get better and better. And every day in every way, you must get better and better. And every day in every way, I must get better and better. And you do that by being your own scientist. Know for yourself. Don't rely on second party, third party, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh party information. You got to know for yourself. So you got to put the information, the knowledge to the test and see if it actually applies and works in your life. That's why it's important to be your own scientist and absorb what is useful, discard what is not, and make that useful and valuable thing uniquely your own and help it work in your own life. I'm not Christian, Miss Valentine says, I'm not Christian, I just have thoughts that limit my actions. You can't do that. And I know it's not true, but I can't figure out how to make something happen in reaffirming the I can't do the train. The way you get out of the I can't do it is you got to find friends. You got to find a support system, Miss Valentine. You got to find a support system. Because if you just do it on your own, it seems that you have weak willpower on your own. You can't really do it on your own because you clearly stated based on your own speech, you can't do it on your own. So you have to find a support system. Look for support systems to help you achieve your goals in life. Because the only way that you're going to positively progress, since you can't do it yourself, I guess that's the way you grew up, the way you were trained in your life when you grew up. That's just the way your mentality was, because your willpower is lacking, so you're going to need a support system. So the only way to break out of your current condition is either you're going to have to get involved in an extreme case, which I really don't want to mention, but it's better that you find yourself a support system. Find yourself some friends that you resonate with that will help you achieve your goals, just as you will use your skills and talents to help them achieve their goals. You help each other out. The support system. You have to have a support system. If you want to change that I can't You got to get a support system. Another way to change your I can't, instead of saying I can't, say I can do it. And start doing things. Do the things that you want to do. Start doing it to the best of your ability. And practice every day, because practice makes you better. Even if you fail, stand up, learn from your lessons, and do your best at it again. Not try again, do your best at it again. Because the next time you do it again, you're going to do a better job at it again, right? Because if you learn from your lessons and your mistakes, the next time you do it, you're going to do a better job. And if you fail again, you're going to know which you didn't do right that time. And the next time you stand back up and you do it again, you're going to do better the next time. And then it's going to keep incrementally improving. So you got to start listening to positive things. If you want to change your I can't, your I can't mentality in your life, you got to start listening to things that are going to make you think you can do it. Motivational speakers. Listen to motivational speakers. That's going to help change your mentality. Find some motivational speakers that are going to help change your mentality. Stick around people that are positive, that are always being positive, that have an always I can attitude. You need a support system. Find some motivational speakers. Start setting some small goals for yourself and accomplish those goals. Do those goals. And as you accomplish those little small petty goals, no matter how petty you may think the goal is, and you accomplish it, that's going to help build your confidence. And then it's going to make it easier for your mentality to say I can do it. And you're going to have backing with you, because you're going to think in your own mind, oh, I was able to do this small thing. I thought I couldn't do this small thing, but I accomplished it. I did this thing, so let me go a little step higher and see if I could do this. And as you keep accomplishing your goals, eventually you're going to build confidence, and you're going to have that I can do attitude. And that's when your mentality is going to be changed. But it's going to take a while. If you've been programmed in a negative way all your life, it's going to be hard for you to break out. So the easiest thing to do is you need to find some motivational speakers, and you need to find yourself a positive support system of friends and family that you have. They'll help build you up. They'll help to build you up. Anna Shotoli, it would be nice if you stayed longer, brother. I appreciate the support, Anna. Well, if you have any questions, Anna, provide the questions. Otherwise, I really have nothing really else to say specifically, because I said all I need to say for today as it pertains to the teaching. So that's on you, Anna. So if you have a question, ask a question. That's good, Miss Valentine. You should be always looking to learn. Because when you learn, you earn, you know, you grow. That's how you must flow. So you could grow and develop. You're welcome, Miss Valentine. Is there any further questions as it pertains to this teaching for today? Before I put this to a close. Like Anna, you said he wanted me to stay on longer. So it's on you, Anna. Do you have any questions? Anything that you're unsure about? Oh yeah, let me add this on. Since you reminded me, Anna, since I read that, I said law of attraction, right? All is mind, all is mental. So you attract and repel things based on your mentality, your mind. Whatever you think you can or can't do, you are right. That's magnetism. That's attracting, and that's repulsion. So the law of attraction is based on your mentality. Mentalism, the law of mentalism. Whatever you think you can or can't do, you are right. That's the law of attraction, in essence, is mentalism. Law of attraction deals with magnetic polarity, right? Opposites attract. In a specific perspective, when we're dealing with magnetic polarity, opposites attract. Well, in some cases, likes can attract as well. It depends on the frequency you're vibing on. Sometimes it's always nice to be around like minds. So you attract each other through like minds. So you have to keep that in mind. The magnetic polarity can alter sometimes. So sometimes like minds like to be around each other. And then opposites also attract as well. It could be for a positive way or a negative way. Or should I say it could be a good way or a bad way. When opposites attract, it's either a good way or a bad way. It all depends on the circumstance. Usually when it comes to masculine and feminine principle, when it comes to men and women coming together, opposites usually attract each other. The reason why opposites attract each other, because in order to make a complete cipher, a complete whole cipher complete, you need both halves to come together, which is opposite polarities. That creates life. When it comes to other ways of thinking, when it comes to general entertainment and intellectual masturbation, like some people like to use back and forth, or intellectual thought, like minds attract one another. Because intellectuals like to speak with people that are intelligent, right? Intellectuals don't like dealing with people that lack knowledge or lack wisdom. There's not much conversation there. So that's how you could see like attract one another. Ignorant and ignorance attracts one another. Ignorance and intelligence usually repel one another, because ignorance is lost in the conversation, or the ignorant person is either lost and they don't understand what the intelligent person is saying, or the ignorant person thinks they know what they're talking about and try to debate and refute just to create friction. And that's a part of life. Life is about friction. So the ignorant person is either going to be confused and just go to and fro, back and forth with different people talking, not confused, or they're going to try to debate and try to find holes in the intelligence based on the limited lack of knowledge that they have, to try to make the intelligent one look bad, because they don't want to feel low, so they try to bring intelligent person down by trying to be slick and disrespectful. It's either that, or they just get confused going back and forth, and they get inspired and just listening. But either way, there's not much building happening. So law of attraction is based on how you think. You attract or you repel. And that's based on the 777 principles of the universe, what I've discussed in today's teaching. So is there any further questions? Any further questions, man? Brave up. Let's go. Especially Anna. You said you wanted me to stay on longer. So what's going on, Anna? And also, I'm pretty much tired talking as well, pretty much. So I'm pretty much already on the close. Anna says, I'm in agreement with all you say, just feeling a block. Expand what you mean about the block, Anna. Soul contract, soul flame, yes. So I'm waiting on you, Anna. You said you wanted me to stay on longer, so this is on you, Anna. What is the block that you're having? Are you like Miss Valentine, who has a problem with the I can't mentality? Is that your issue as well, Anna? Expand what you mean about the block. You have a lack of support like Miss Valentine? If that's you, I suggest you do the same thing. You gotta find a support system to change your mentality. You gotta find somebody. Because if your willpower is lacking, it's going to be very hard for you to change on your own unless you go through extreme circumstance. Like, I'll give you an example. The extreme circumstance is this. If a person develops cancer and the doctor tells the person that they have cancer, what is that person going to do? They're going to scramble to get all the solutions to change. But how come they didn't change before then? As soon as that doctor told them that they have cancer, all of a sudden they're like scrambling. What's the solution? How do we get rid of cancer? What's the treatment? How do we do it? But when they were living the day-to-day life, they didn't care. They had all these people telling them, you got to eat better, you got to eat healthy, you got to exercise. And they said, yeah, I know, no. I'm just enjoying this food. I want to do my own thing. But then later on, when you go to a doctor for a checkup, the doctor tells you have cancer, you don't have much time to live, all of a sudden you're scrambling for your life and you go, oh, I gotta change now. What can I do to change this and reverse the situation? And you're scrambling to get all the answers now, and you're willing to do everything it takes now, since you're in an extreme condition. It's the same thing with the I can't mentality. It's really on you. When are you gonna change? Do you need an extreme circumstance to make you change your mentality? To make you move? Because some people, they require that. They require extreme cases. They require an extreme calamity to befall them in order for them to change. They claim that they know, I gotta eat better, I gotta live better, I gotta exercise so I don't get these sickness, illness, and disease. I know. I can break it down. I got a doctorate in nutrition. I know, but I want to enjoy some of this. I could always get back because I know how to get back, but then it never happens. All these things they try to boast upon, and then it never happens, and they get cancer, and then they're scrambling and struggling. People only change when they get to an extreme situation in life. And that's usually the case. People always think they have time to change. And you have to keep in mind, you can't waste time in life. You shouldn't be wasting time in life. There's nothing wrong with relaxing and just doing nothing once in a while, but you can't be doing nothing all the time. You're here to grow and develop. You're here to progress and grow. You're not here to just sit around and do nothing. Otherwise, you're just wasting space. You have to grow and develop. You got to progress yourself. In some way, form, or fashion, no matter how small you think it may be, you got to progress and grow. Otherwise, you're wasting space. Make room for those, or otherwise nature and life is going to make room for those who are willing to improve life itself. Get rid of those who are not doing nothing in life, and they're going to make room for those who want to make something out of life. Anna says, I'm on a higher level of knowledge like yourself, and no, I don't have the I can't thing. Just not sure what to ask, brother. That means you overstood everything I said, Anna. But I'm just curious, what do you mean just feeling a block? What do you mean by that? Just feeling a block? A block of what? Waiting on you, Anna. I'm waiting on you, Anna. If you got nothing, if no one else has anything else to say, any other questions as it pertains to the teaching today, it seems like I was very clear with the teaching today. No one's really asking any further questions on the teaching. I guess I was very clear, so I'm assuming that I was clear enough that everybody understood the knowledge. So that if no one has any further questions, I'm going to conclude today's broadcast today. That's the fire of truth and nothing but the whole, living, unified truth. Until next time, my brothers and sisters, sisters and sisters, holistic true peace, true power, and true elevation. Awaken your mind and get your behind back to nature. Etymology. Expand what you are saying on etymology. What are you referring to, Anna? A block on etymology. What are you referring to? Be more specific, because I'm about to put this to a close. If that's what you're saying here, I'm in agreement. You're saying you're in agreement with what I say, just feeling a block of etymology. What do you mean about etymology? Be more specific. And we're waiting on you because I'm about to put this to a close. If anyone still in the chat still has a question for me, whether it's on this teaching or a different one, ask it now, because I'm about to put this to a close. If something was unclear to you or wasn't explained clearly enough for you as it pertains to this teaching or a previous teaching on my channel, state it in the chat right now. Even if you disagree, I don't mind people who disagree. You don't have to agree with this. You don't have to. So I'm waiting on you, Anna, and anybody in the chat who has any questions, lay it down in the chat. So I'm going to give people that are listening an opportunity to formulate their questions. I'm going to play this song, and once the song is done, I'm going to put this teaching to a conclusion for today. So I'm giving people a last opportunity after this song to ask your final questions before I put today's teaching to a close. So after this song, I'm putting it to close. So take heed to the message here. Take heed to the message. Take notes. So let the the life that's in you, choose well. the way, the life, the way, the truth, make your way cellular DNA, RNA, so let the well. So let the the way, the life, that's in you, choose well, the way, the life, the way, the truth, make your way cellular DNA, RNA, so let the well.
Anything you're ever going to want to do that matters in your life is going to require persistence. You're going to overcome that problem that you thought was going to be the thing that threatened to unhinge you.
So let the the way, the life, two legs, you choose well, stand strong in the two legs, stand strong in the two legs, make your way cellular DNA, RNA, so let the well. Most High, so let the choose the truth, gotta choose well, reach for the Most High. Like I said, the law of correspondence. As above, so below, as within, so without. Up from here, your neck up can be considered the Most High. As well, from here up can be considered heaven. Middle section can be considered earth. And from your reproductive down could be considered hell. There's many different ways to look at these teachings that come from different perspectives of cultures. Most High can be looked at as many different things. You got to reach the Most High in your goals, your endeavors. You got to have a higher mentality, Most High. You got to reach your external Most High. You got to see the sun is the most high thing you see. So that's where you got to rise to, the Most High, the sun, the supreme knowledge and wisdom as in the physical manifestation in this world that we see is the sun. So that's the Most High. Or we could see an external God, which is really us. We're a piece of the Most High God in our current limitation of the projection of the white light. That's what you need to understand. So anyways, that is the fire of truth and nothing but the whole, living, unified truth. Until next time, my brothers and sisters, since I don't see any further questions, I gave people an opportunity to drop their final questions as it pertains to this teaching or any other teaching that I have on my channel. It seems like people... I'm assuming that people understand what I've been taught today, so if no one is going to come out from the shadows that are watching, if no one's going to come out of the shadows and ask a question, or even if they disagree, if you disagree, bring your disagreement and we could have a construction build before I put this to a close. If you don't want to do that, then what is the point of me continuing to talk? I pretty much said everything I need to say for this teaching, so there's no point of me staying on, especially you, Anna. You requested I stay on longer, Anna, so I said everything I need to say for today's teaching. So what else do you want to talk about before I put this to a close? Poetic Pearl says, can you control your karma since you create your reality? Yes, Pearl. Like I said, all is mental. All is mind. Your karma is based on cause and effect. So if you want to change the effect, you got to do something different in your life. You got to reciprocity. Like I said, you got to incorporate the 777 principles of the universe. You got to embody them. You got to embody them. Poetic Pearl. So you got to know that the universe is made up of a law of cause and effect. For every effect, there's a cause. For every cause, there's an effect. The Bible says you reap what you sow. So you got to make sure you're serving people properly. The law of reciprocity. You got to make sure you're serving people properly. Serve, make sure you're doing your job, doing your work. Love people, serve people. If you're treating people well, that same energy is going to come back to you. That's the law of reciprocity. That's the law of cause and effect. That's the law of vibration. That's the law of rhythm. That's the law. That's the law of generation. You're creating your karma. If you want to change your karma, you got to incorporate the law of reciprocity. You got to treat others how you would treat yourself. Love others how you would treat yourself. If you want the positive energy to work in your favor, you got to treat others how you'd want yourself to be treated. That's what the Bible says as well. What did Jesus say? What did Yahushua say? Yeshaya say? Yahawashai say? Do unto others how you would do to yourself. What you would do for yourself. Treat your neighbors well. Because your neighbors are another version of you, right? All is mind. Any other questions before I put this to a close? Any other questions? All right, going once, going twice. Final opportunity. Anna, is there anything else? Or Poetic Pearl or anyone else watching? Is there any other final questions before I put this teaching to a close? Joy. Joy, man, you're funny, man. You're always asking these longevity questions, man. You're funny, man. Why eat? Why each generation the life expectancy is decreasing? Oh man, you're funny, Joey, man. Every time, man, you're funny. So Joey, I'm gonna keep this very simple again, man. I don't want to go on and on with this. I already talked about this so many times. Generally speaking, each generation's life expectancy drops simply because of lack of knowledge, ignorance. That's to keep it simple. If you're ignorant, if you don't know what's better for you, how can you do better? If you know what's better for you and you don't do better for yourself, you're just idiotic, you're stupid. You become a moron. So you need more teachings. You either don't know the knowledge to do better for yourself, or you're either ignorant, lacking the knowledge, and there's those that have the knowledge but don't do anything with it and actually go against the knowledge. Those people are idiotic, moronic, and stupid. Knowledge is abundant out here. So life expectancy is dropping based on each person's lifestyle. So the root, so like I was saying I say many times in my videos, the root to life expectancy is how much light you are receiving. Since the life expectancy is dropping, or should I say the quality of life drops, the reason why the quality of people's life drops is because they receive less light. Did you hear me? The life expectancy drops in people because they receive less light from the sun. Like I said, the root to all sickness, illness, and disease is a lack of life. You have a lack of life. When you're sick, ill, and disease, that means your light is dropping. Your electromagnetism is dropping. Your lumen consciousness is dropping. Your brightness is dimming. That's when sickness, illness, and disease comes in. So the very fact that your life expectancy is dropping means that you have a lack of light. You're not getting enough full spectrum sunlight. You have and even if you are getting sunlight, you need to take the damn clothes off. Your whole body needs sunlight. So you need to get in that sun as long as possible. You need to ground yourself to the earth and stay grounded as long as possible. You need to be drinking clean water consistently and stay hydrated. You need to be breathing deeply from your diaphragm consistently as much as possible, because the deeper your breaths are and the calmer you are in your breath, the longer you're going to live. Because if your heart is beating slower, if the pump of your heart is beating, it has a strong pump, but it's beating slow, the longer you're going to live. And the more calm and relaxed you are, the longer you're going to live. So the reason why life expectancy drops in people is because they're too stressed. Like I said before, they're not receiving the 4 realms of electrified vitality they're not receiving the 4 realms of electrified vitality enough. Earth, wind, fire, and water. They're not interfacing enough with it. That's the first and foremost, which is the problem. Second problem is people are too stressed. Have too much stress in their life, which hinders and diminishes and insulates their breathing. Their breathing becomes shallow, therefore it prevents them from inhaling the electrons in the oxygen molecule to receive charge, because we cannot survive beyond 2 to 5 minutes without oxygen. So if you're not breathing properly, you are not receiving the animation of life for your body to thrive in electrified vitality and longevity and resilience, like an evergreen tree, surviving and thriving throughout all the seasons. So earth, wind, fire, and water is the fundamental core and foundational base to all resiliency of your life vitality. Earth, wind, fire, and water. You must interface as long as possible in nature as much as possible. That's your fundamental core and foundation to extending your life. Then you got to cut your stress. You got to get more relaxed. You got to cool down and be easy. You don't want to be too easy. You want to make sure you're always moving, but you don't want to overstress your body. That's the main factor. People have too much toxins in their body. That's why the life expectancy is dropping. Whether it's through the foods, whether it's toxic people, a toxic environment, people, places, and things is toxic, it's going to hinder the life expectancy. A lot of it has to do with the people. Too much electromagnetic, synthetic, and artificial chaos that is overstressing and stimulating the person's body drops the life expectancy. That's what it is in essence. All these things that drop your life expectancy drain your charge from your body, drain your electromagnetism from your body. That's what puts you closer to death. That's when you become dimmer in your lumen consciousness. That's to keep it simple. Joey, man. Anna, I don't understand why I chose my soul contract, so can you elaborate, please? I cannot expand on your soul contract. Anna, You have to find that out for yourself, and you got to find your purpose in your life. Everybody comes here for a specific reason, to learn a specific lesson in life. The reason why you manifested in the lifestyle that you're in now, because you chose to, for a specific reason, because you chose to come here to experience something specific to what you're living right now. You came here to learn something. Like I said, generally speaking, everybody's here for a reason, to grow and develop. You have an astrological program that you came here with. Like I said, it's all about knowledge of self. So what I suggest you do is get your astrology information and study yourself. Study your weaknesses. Study your strengths. And you're going to know that's going to help you and give you guidance on what to do in life. If you want to know the reason why you came here, look at your astrological program, because that's your ego. That's your character, is your astrological program. So study that. Study your astrological program, because that's going to teach you about yourself. It's going to teach you your strengths and your weaknesses and what you should be doing in life in general. Once you got that basic information of yourself, that's going to guide you in your purpose in life. It's going to help guide you closer to what you came here to do. Generally speaking, you came here to overcome your weaknesses. That's what you generally came here to do. You came here to experience a certain way of living, and you came here to overcome your weaknesses and make them stronger. Everybody's here is meant to grow and develop. Everybody has their own life to deal with according to their own circumstances. So generally speaking, you came here to overcome your weaknesses and to do something that you're meant to do. You're supposed to be grown and develop, whatever that may be. Okay. Is there any further questions where I put Is there any further questions where I put this to a close? Any other questions where I put this to a close? Danny Jackson, what's up, Danny? What herbs are good for tinnitus? Other remedies. Tinnitus. Is that the hearing issue, right? Tinnitus? Am I correct? Is that hearing problems? Yeah, I think it's hearing problems, right? Like I mentioned before, the foundational thing to correct disease in your problem is earth, wind, fire, and water. So when we're dealing with ear problems, that's essentially dealing with, I think it's dealing with hearing problems and balancing your hearing. So that's dealing with nutritional deficiencies. So you got to make sure you're getting organic foods, of course. I'm just trying to keep this general, because just giving you specific herbs is not enough. You got to change your lifestyle. It's not enough just for you to focus on one herb remedy or a few herb remedies. Anybody can look up specific herb remedies. It's about changing your lifestyle, Danny Jackson. So what you want to do to correct your tinnitus problem without having to get any herbs, so what you want to do is you want to get more sunlight, as naked as possible. You want to breathe deeply from your diaphragm. You want to do some stretching, some yoga stretching, from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, because usually ear problems are due to irregulation of pressure within your ear. When you have hearing problems, that means that your bones are not vibrating properly. You're not able to. Your bones are not able to pick up sonic waves properly. The air pressure in your body is off, so that's why you may have imbalance in your ears. So you're not breathing right because your air pressure's off. So you need to breathe from the diaphragm and practice breathing deeply, consistently in nature. You need more sunlight so your body can jumpstart the metabolic function, so your body can function correctly, Danny. So you need sunlight as naked as possible. Your whole body, because disease, tackling and dealing with sickness, illness, and disease is a lifestyle change. You cannot just take herbs and expect it to go away. It's not going to happen that easy. You got to do more than that. You got to interface with earth, wind, fire, and water. Tinnitus is caused by inflammation in the body. So if you want to reduce inflammation in your body, and it's a lack of conduction of your bones in your ear, your bones is not able to make use of piezoelectric effect, so you can pick up sonic waves. So you must reduce inflammation in your body. So you must ground your feet to the earth, ground your hands to the earth, take the rubber off your feet, the shoes off your feet, ground yourself to the earth as much as possible. Full spectrum sunlight. Breathe deeply from the diaphragm to regulate the air pressure and the compression and balance in your body. Regulate, and in order for the air and life energy and light energy to pass through your body thoroughly and efficiently, effectively, you must stretch, you must do your yoga, you must flex every part of your body, especially your neck. All the tension in your neck, your back, and your head. You gotta massage your head, you gotta massage your neck, you gotta stretch, because all those things hinder the function of your ears. You gotta correct the air pressure balance in your skull. You're not breathing properly. Sometimes you gotta get two of your palms of your hand, put it on one of your ear, and start pumping. You know how you get the toilet, how you get the plunger, and you use a plunger to unclog your toilet when your toilet gets clogged once in a while. You got to use a plunger with your hand sometimes. You got to make use of your breathing, and you got to pump your ear. That helps to balance the air pressure in your ear. I'm giving you physical things to help improve your condition, to make it better. Giving you specific herbs is only a small piece of the puzzle. It's a physical disability that you have, brother. You need more nutrition, Danny. More nutrition. That means you need to get some more fruits and vegetables in your food palette. Get it more in your food palette. Fresh fruits and vegetables. So I would recommend which one would I recommend? Just think what's best for that. Buy yourself some ginger root. Make some ginger tea. Ginger root. Slice the ginger. Put it in some boiling water. Boil that for 5 minutes. Turn the temperature down. Allow it to steep for 5 to 10 minutes. Then drink the ginger. And drink that. That's going to help clear the buildup of mucus, clear up the inflammation. Ginger root. Sage tea. Sage tea is going to help calm the body. Get some nettle root tea. It's going to help calm the body. All those things are going to help calm the body and clear the inflammation out your body. Dandelion root. But the most important things you should be doing, Danny, is make sure interface with earth, wind, fire, and water. Make sure you stretch from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. Breathe deeply from the diaphragm. Use the plunger method that I've showed you with your hands. Your ear should be going here, and you should be plunging your ear. Balance. That'll help balance, because I know sometimes when I get an imbalance in my hearing and a little ringing, sometimes I do that, and it balances my ears back to normal. That helps. And also holding your breath, and holding your nose, and holding your breath, and then hold your breath, hold your nose, and then try to blow out without actually opening your mouth or your nose. And that's going to help balance out the air pressure balance in your ears as well for tinnitus. Because sometimes when you get air imbalance in your ears, that's what you should do. Hold your breath, breathe in deeply from the diaphragm. Close your nose, close your mouth. Blow out. Blow out through your nose, though. You want to blow out through your nose while you close it with your fingers. Close it and close your mouth and blow out through your nose. Do it repetition, but with your closed, and that's gonna help balance out your ears. And it's gonna be uncomfortable for you for a bit, but it's gonna help correct the issues in your ear. You just have to make a lifestyle change, man. You got to eat better. Less processed and dead foods, because if you lack in nutrition, your bones are not going to be able to recalcify themselves. You need to get more calcium. You need to get more vitamin C in, more citrus, more fruits, more vitamin C, more iron. You need to go do all these things. You need to get more organic fruits and vegetables. I don't have time to go into all these things and extend it. But the most important thing I said: earth, wind, fire, and water. Brother, let's move on. Any questions before I put this to close? Danny Jackson, do you think there is such a thing called a resurrection? Where do we go after this life, and there any scientific evidence? Resurrection. Are you talking about the resurrection in the Bible? Is that what you're talking about? Do you think there's such thing as called a resurrection? Where do we go after this life? And there any scientific evidence? If you understand life in general, we know that death itself is just a transitioning or a transformation or a transmutation to another form of existence. When we come to that understanding, Danny, you don't actually die, you just transition to another form of existence. And part of your existence, you exist through your children. Because your children are in fact another version of you that is living in a new age. So another way that you keep yourself alive, or another way you could look at it is or keep yourself in a state of living, is creating children. What the scripture says, be fruitful and multiply. So if you want to continue yourself in this life, create children. If you talk about the physical body that you're in right now for resurrection, no, we cannot prove scientific evidence. There's not really any scientific evidence right now for that. Right now, that's just a belief. For someone to die and come back with the same body that they died with, that's a belief right now. We don't know that for sure right now. But what we can say, Danny, is that the way you keep yourself alive is by having children, because that's another version of you. And the way you keep yourself alive in your current formation that you're in right now is doing what I said. Earth, wind, fire, and water. Stay in tune with nature to the best of your ability. Eat clean, then you're going to operate clean. And if you're clean, the longer you're going to live. That's internally and externally. Be clean. And clean doesn't mean that you have to take a shower every day, every second. That's not what I mean about clean. Get in tune with nature is what I mean. When you're in tune with nature, that automatically makes you clean. Listen to reason. Once you go against nature and the principles of nature, that's when you become dirty, and that's when sickness, illness, and disease comes in. Listen to reason. So when it comes to physical resurrection of your body that you lost, there is no proof for that exactly. Now we can actually show people right now, right this second. There is no proof. That's just a belief right now. Because you know full well, Danny, that people are not going to believe about resurrection unless they literally see it, and there is no proof for that right now. The only way we could see kind of like a resurrection is seeing the person's mentality being transferred to someone else. Like your children are going to be like you, right? So it's like you resurrected through them. So the way you even if you die as a father or a mother, you die and your children live on. You are going to live on through your children. So that's technically your mentality lives on through them in some way, form, or fashion. So this is the last question I'm going to ask right now. This is the last question I'm going to provide. Poetic Pearl says, what must you do for skin problems like rashes? When you have issues manifesting on the surface of your skin, that tells you that you have a problem inside your internal environment with toxins. So the way to address problems with your skin, it's common sense stuff that you already know already. You gotta change what you're eating. The processed flesh meats that you're eating, that's been processed, those farm-raised animals that you're eating are going to give you those rashes. So you got to cut back your meat consumption. They're going to give you those rashes. The conventional fruits and vegetables that is full of pesticides, herbicides, and insecticides, if you don't clean them off properly, they're going to give you allergic reactions, and the toxins are going to manifest on your skin. Another reason why you have skin problems is because it's a hormonal imbalance. So therefore you're not getting enough earth, wind, fire, and water. You're spending too many times indoors. You're looking at too much artificial light. Like, for example, you're looking at your phone too much. You're getting too much artificial energy from the phone and the computer and television screens. That's messing with your hormonal balance. And that's affecting your body, and that's giving you your instructions, which is your hormones, are being hindered and not allowing your body. You're not allowing your metabolic function of your body to work properly. So you have to be aware of your surroundings. You have to make sure that you have full spectrum sunlight in your environment. You got to make sure when you're looking at your technology or your computer screens or televisions for long periods of time, you're wearing sunshades or blue light blockers, what I'm wearing. Because too much blue light in your body is going to disrupt your hormones, and it's gonna and all that blue light is going to manifest problems on your skin. So you have to keep that in mind. You got to change what you eat in. You got to actually be in nature as much as possible. Earth, wind, fire, and water. Ground yourself to the earth, because when you have rashes, that's inflammation. That's a sign of inflammation. So in order to reduce inflammation, you must ground yourself. Ground your feet to the earth, hands to the earth. Look up the science of grounding and earthing. You get free electrons from the earth, and those electrons act as antioxidants in your body, which actually neutralize inflammation in your body. So you need to be grounded to the earth. You need to be getting full spectrum sunlight, because light is the main source that powers your body. It's the primal source that powers your body. We are photovoltaic. We convert light into electromagnetism. So, to be more accurate, we are photo-hydro-electromagnetic beings. Photo-hydro-electromagnetic beings. Our body uses hydrogen and oxygen, water in essence, is the fundamental core and foundational base of our body, because 70% plus of our body is made up of water, and we use water as energy. So our water bends light to make energy, electromagnetism. That's why we are photo is light, hydro-electromagnetic beings. We convert light through water into electromagnetism, through the energy in water into electromagnetism. That's just keep it simple. I'm going to do a separate teaching for that, as it pertains to electrolytes and developing electrified vitality. I'll do a separate teaching on that. So skin issues are caused by inflammation, toxins in the body, stress, your environment. It's all due to toxins. It's due to technology. You're exposed to too much of the wireless technology, which is bombarding your skin, causing you to break out. You're eating foods that are full of toxins, so you got to clean out the foods. This is very simple. Stop eating toxic foods. Eat clean foods. Clean organic fruits and vegetables. And if you choose to eat meat, eat the cleanest meat possible, which is it's almost oxymoron in itself, because eating any kind of meat is not clean at all. It doesn't matter. But if you choose to still hold on to eating flesh meat, eat the Leviticus 11, as it says in Leviticus 11 in the Bible. The vegetarian and herbivore animals you should be eating only, not the carnivorous or the scavenger animals. Those are very toxic to the body. You should not be consuming those if you choose to eat meat. Flesh meat. Eat clean. Live clean. You're going to think clean, so you got to eat right, to think right, to know right, to live right. When I eat right, I will think right, I will know right, I will live right. So you got to eat clean internally and externally. It's just common sense stuff. You're breaking out because you're eating too many things that are unnatural and chemicals. Your hormones are being messed up because you're in a synthetic and artificial environment. You got to get back to nature. You got to use natural products on your skin. No more of that stuff blocking your skin. No more artificial creams, lotions, none of that. No shampoos, none of that crap. It has to be natural as possible. That's what's causing your rashes or pimples or bumps or any of that stuff. It's due to inflammation. It's due to allergic reactions to chemicals and synthetics that's contained in conventional fruits and veggies, which is the herbicides, pesticides, insecticides, genetically modified foods, processed foods, toxic flesh meats. All those things are causing your rashes to break out. Yes, and clean water. And like I said, meat is not really clean. It's like an oxymoron. But if you're going to be eating meat, the cleanest meat that you can get, which is an oxymoron, is vegetarian and herbivore animals. All nutrition comes from vegetables anyways. Even the carnivores, they get the nutrition from vegetables. Listen to recent. Even carnivores get the nutrition from vegetables. Do you hear me? Oh, Nathan, you're wrong. They eat meat. No. What do carnivores do? They go for the stomach. Why do they go for the stomach? What's in the stomach? What's in the organs? Vegetables, fruits, herbs. Listen to read. Listen to reason. They need to get it through second and third hand source because they don't have the enzymes to break down the vegetables themselves. That's what carnivores lack. They don't have the enzymes to break down the vegetables themselves. So they have to eat another being that eats the vegetables for them, fruits for them, so they can digest the minerals. Listen to reason. We are all made up of the minerals of the planet. And plants hold the minerals of the planet when they grow. Listen to reason. Anna, do you have any contacts in London, England? No, I don't. I don't know anybody in London, England. Anyways, I'm going to conclude today's teaching for today. Brothers and sisters, these stars, enjoy your day. I'm kind of tired of talking, man. Anyways, enjoy. Awaken your mind and get your behind back to nature. Holistic pure peace, pure power, and pure elevation. Enjoy.